It's Ben, and I'm in a car. It's Car Talk. I don't even call them Car Talks anymore. They were temporarily called Car Talks, but I dropped that name. I think there might be an actual podcast show called Car Talk, or maybe there's Car Talk Radio. Something like that. I'm in a car. I'm talking. That's why I say it. It's Ben. I'm here. There's a bunch of metal in my car right now. We are moving offices when I'm recording this. So I am actually heading home, but there's a bunch of just metal stuff that didn't really have a box that fit in nicely. So you might hear that clinking around a little bit. Clink, clink, clink. There's actually one piece of metal jutting into my shoulder right now. Feels real good. But yeah, I thought I would talk a little bit about, because, if you don't know, there's a little jingle from the back of the car. If you don't know, which I don't know how you would not know if you're listening to the Patreon and me vomiting words all the time, I got my PC a while back ago. I made a video on Patreon about it, or a video of me taking it out of the box. So I've been setting that up, and you would think that setting up a new PC, not too much trouble. It is very challenging for me. There's a lot of things going on in my environment in terms of wiring and different things being connected, and I also wanted to kind of clean out and rewire things. So I basically spent the entire weekend doing that, and to some degree, even into this week, I'm still doing that. There's a lot of little bits and pieces that are in the way. I'm still having challenges with the RetroTink specifically. If you don't know what the RetroTink is, that's what I use to upscale pretty much any console that displays pre-HD graphics. So we're talking 480p, 480i, 240p, things like that. 576p or whatever, or 576i, whatever the European standard is for PAL. Those kind of things. So that's what I use them for. And so the nice thing about the 5X is that it can go up to a 1440p resolution, which then can be scaled to 4K, and that works for, that works for 480p games specifically, and 480i. This makes the numbers fit better, so it makes it so the upscaler doesn't have to fudge the pixels and be this is kind of what it should look like. It can just display those pixels at a perfect integer. It's why 240p fits into 720 easily, and I believe also 1080. I could be wrong about that. I'm not going to do math right now. I'm in the car. You might be like, Ben, that's a really easy math equation. I need to slow down my talking. I keep forgetting to do that. But yeah, it is not 720p or whatever, or 1080p does a little damage to a 480p signal. It's not that big of a deal, but when you are trying to do kind of archive quality stuff to some degree, it's nice. Whether or not I am really capable of doing that is a whole other thing, but it is a money hole you drop down. Anyways, so the problem I'm having right now is essentially there isn't a handshake going on between the RetroTink and the capture card, I think. And I don't know where the problem is. I suspected it was in maybe the cable I was using, the HDMI cable I was using, was not a high enough quality. So if you don't know, there are I think 5 levels of HDMIs that are sold now, or rather, have existed in recent years. That includes HDMI high speed, HDMI high speed with Ethernet, and then HDMI category 3, I think is what is after that. And then within category 3, there's a couple or other standards there. There's also an HDMI 1.0, I think, but as far as I can tell, that is pre-1080p standard. I think the highest that supported was 1080i or something. So, but yeah, so I went ahead and bought some 8K cables just for the sake of it wasn't that much more expensive than doing a 4K 60 cable. The cables I had only supported up to 4K 30. So I was maybe the RetroTink is trying to display a 4K 60 signal and it can't. So I got those cables yesterday, but unfortunately, as I mentioned earlier, doing an office move, so I'm staying at the office a little later this week. I also had some errands I had to run, and then social gaming groups have kind of cropped back up. So I am back to playing games during the week sometimes. So I didn't have time to mess with it last night. So I still need to try that out. But thankfully the RetroTink is displaying 1080p, no problem. So I don't think that'll cause any issues for me streaming later. I did some test recording with the First Soldier, Final Fantasy VII. Maybe the least, maybe not the game you really want to test like visual quality with, given that game is a muddy mess and like barely runs at a proper frame per second. But it seems like the recording I have matches the muddy mess and proper frames per second I see on screen when I play that game normally. So it is at least accurate to that. So all of that is set up and ready to go for the most part. Or not ready to go. I need to test it. The other potential issue of why it might not be handshaking is I do have like a little switch in between my monitor and my capture card setup. So that switch, I don't know what the capabilities of it are. I would not be surprised if it does not support 4K 60. So I might have to look into replacing that switch. But before I do that, I will just need to do some testing, do some direct wiring and all that stuff, and see how that goes. So that is the PC update. I'm trying to get everything pulled together. One little ripple I added into this is because I have my old PC, and my old PC still works pretty good. And I decided I would try to rework my bedroom a little bit to make better use of the space. If you don't know, I am somebody who am always frustrated by the fact that a bedroom feels very useless outside of sleeping. I do nothing in my bedroom other than sleep, which, sounds reasonable, but it just kind of bothers me that the space isn't utilized. So I am planning on shifting my bed further to one side of the room and then setting up a secondary stream station. You can kind of see the origins of that in the PC video I did of me unboxing the PC. I have a couple tables set up there, and at the time I think that was literally it, just a couple tables set up, and then I just put my camera in front of it and dropped some lights in front. So, but I would like to use that more long term. One of the things I have in the car with me actually is a shelf that we are throwing away, and I was like, oh, I actually might want to like have this shelf in the background. That'd be kind of nice. So I'm bringing that home with me to see if that works. If not, I'll just get rid of it. But I thought that would be kind of nice. So I'm trying to build out that little station there. And really what the intention with that station is to have a more, I guess, desk kind of view for video shots and stuff. So I can do things that aren't as restrictive. Because right now, I more or less am just kind of locked into having the green screen up. And if you don't know, a big reason why I have the green screen up in front of like the podcast and the streams is I have a light that sits right behind me. And that light is right in the camera. And while I would love to have different lighting, that is the light that makes the most sense in my room, at least right now. So maybe in the future I will move that, but for now it's hard to do anything with the lighting setup I have, because the lights are basically right in the view of the camera. So it's just like this piercing light in the camera. So I forgot where I was going with that. Oh, so it gives me a little more space to play around with camera angles and stuff, and not necessarily have to rely on a green screen for everything for that. So that is the intention with that. I may also do some streaming from there. I was thinking about some different formats of streaming. If you don't know, I am somebody who very much, to maybe to my detriment, will look at somebody making content and be like, I kind of like the idea that they have. I kind of want to try something out like that. And so whenever you see me try something new, there's a very good chance I'm trying to replicate something. When it comes to the quick plays I used to do, that was very much off-brand quick looks from Giant Bomb. If you see the What else? There's something else that is based off something else right now, and I think I'm actively doing it. I think Retro Bird and Pat and the NES Puck also kind of inspired that game collecting video. Although that was really a game collecting, like, video watching binge as a whole. All this metal clanking, and just seeing kind of the negativity around game collecting right now. I wanted to kind of put my voice out there because I've never really felt that negative about game collecting. And, that's not something just about, like, game collectors on YouTube. That is something I have felt even over the years. I have talked to people who are very negative about the rising prices of games and stuff. But anyways, yeah, that video is kind of inspired by that. In some ways, I think the casual reviews feel similar to, like, Classic Game Room. So, there's a lot of reasons things end up the way they do. Multi-tap podcasts, at least initially inspired by Retronauts, I think the workload of those is too high. So I was looking at some, this is a very long-winded way of saying, I was looking at Mega 64's Martin Luther King Day streams, which I will say I never intend to match the tone of Mega 64. And then if I do in any way, that is not intentional, just me being influenced by somebody probably. But that is not a mission statement or idea of mine that I want to do. I do have, like, a history of doing skits and stuff, so if you do see something silly on screen for those, it's usually probably out of that history. But yeah, and I like their MLK stream, specifically the breakfast at 5 p.m. stream. I really like that stream. So I kind of was like, maybe I should, oh man, this truck, maybe I should just stay back. I think I'm just going to stay back. This truck's in a really weird spot. He's kind of like half my lane, but half not. Yeah, so it's kind of like a more casual stream vibe. And so I was thinking maybe I could try something along those lines. The problem with those things is, and this wouldn't be replacing the mainstream, and that's where the problem comes into play, is like actually figuring out where that would fit in, what type of content, and also do I have the bandwidth to actually do that? If you have not heard yet, I have not been very vocal about it yet. But I got my panel accepted to Level Up Expo in Las Vegas. I need to put something together, and then once I put something together, I'll probably make a thumbnail and then put that out there to kind of advertise the fact that I will be there. And if you want to come see me, you can. Sorry, I'm being a little cautious with this truck up here. What's going on here? Just want to make sure I'm not going to die. Are you coming to my lane? Okay. All right. We have successfully avoided death for now. You will probably hear this podcast. I'm going to drive by this truck unless it flips over on me. Don't flip over on me. But yeah, so it's just more stuff. And I have a hard time making cuts is the thing. That is something that I envy that other people are able to do. I feel very much in the line of, like, if I am really interested in doing something, I want to do it and I want to make it work, even if it does means like not doing a lot of it, unfortunately. So that's a challenge I always have. And I've considered, like, maybe making the podcast. I don't remember what it is, bi-weekly, but like every 2 weeks, not every 2 times a week. To like reduce some of that workload. I need to stop like doing weekly video content. I get in a bad habit of making like a casual review and like scheduling them a week out from each other, and that's never the right way to go for me. So it becomes too much work. So, and I kind of feel like the casual review format has gotten a little stale for me. I kind of want to do something new with that. I don't quite know what that's going to be. But the nice thing about the casual review is that it's usually for a game I don't have like a ton of strong feelings about, but maybe just want to talk about. But I found like say for example, the Cheer We Go video, right? Admittedly, I kind of considered condensing that down further, but Cheer We Go is a game I enjoy, and there's a particular thing about Cheer We Go that I enjoy, and I like talking about that. But like, does it need an entire casual review? I don't necessarily know that's the case. So yeah, I'm still trying to figure that out. And I would like to also play with short form video more on like, I almost said Vine, TikTok and YouTube Shorts and things like that. I would like to play with those formats, but it just takes time because guess what? Ben still hasn't worked on his Nintendoji video in about 3 weeks. So that is important. I want to get that. I know I said by February with the panel coming up It's probably going to be March instead. We'll see. I need to go back and look at it and see how much more work I need to do. I think at this point, I just have to do some editing. So, yeah. Anyways, I mainly just wanted to talk about my PC setup, woes. A little bit of a life update there. So, yeah. And then hopefully, this next coming couple months, I'll get to focus more on like real content. Although with the panel coming up, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that per se. So yeah, but we'll try. I just pulled in my parking spot though, so I'm gonna go inside. I'm gonna eat and then dropping my mic. And hopefully we're gonna be God Eater 3 tonight. Speaking of something that's been hanging around too long, God Eater 3, man, that needs to get out of my life. We're going to beat the main story, but I think there's more content. So I don't know if I actually am free of God Eater 3 at this point. So anyways, thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for contributing to the Patreon. If there's anything you want from the Patreon, please let me know. I am flying blind at this point, so I'm just making decisions and testing things out. So any kind of feedback is a big help. Obviously, there will probably be some major restrictions on what I can do. It's very hard for me to make actually polished content for the Patreon at this point, at least. So, as I mentioned earlier, there are 30 things I want to do, and I am only one man with a full-time job that I work in addition, and a body that I have to take care of. So yes. Anyways, that's it. Talk to you later. Bye.